Hi, this is Dwayne Rock and Doc Anderson. Welcome, vinyl community, to another video. My first for 2023. This one's about final vinyl finds for 2022. If you remember a couple of videos ago, I talked about a shipment I got from an outfit out of Spain called Chaputa Records. And they had shorted me a couple of things that I'd ordered on that shipment because of delays at the record plant, pressing plant. So just before Christmas, I finally got those in, a couple of things that were missing. So first off is this brand new 7-inch from the Headcoats sect. And it's actually the Headcoats with one of the guys from the Downliners sect. His name is Keith Garrett Evans. He does the vocals on this, which is a tribute to Don Crane, who was the leader of the Downliners sect, who passed away last February in 2022. And this is, they had actually done in the late 90s, they'd done 2 albums and a EP, a 7-inch EP, with members of the Downliner sect under that title, the Headliner sect. And I actually looked up those 3 titles to see if the tracks, there's 4 tracks on this EP, to see if they were tracks from those albums, and no, they're not. So I believe this is 4 tracks that they recorded just for this 7-inch EP. Great 7-inch. They're, if you remember, or if you're familiar with the Downliner sect, they were a band from the early '60s that had a R&B bass, and I always sort of compared them to like a raw, rougher, cruder version of the Rolling Stones. So if you get a chance, pick this up and check out either some of the Headcoats, who are very prolific. They have a ton of releases out under that name, and Willie Childish, the leader of that band, also has a couple of side projects, so there's a ton of albums out with him on it. And if you get a chance, check out some of those Downliner sect albums. You'll be really, I think you'd really like those if you're into this kind of stuff. Then a couple of LPs I got in that I didn't get with that shipment was a couple of sampler LPs. This is a compilation of Swedish hard rock, kind of heavy psych bands called Swedish Meatballs. And once again, this is one of those compilations. There's actually 2 of them. This is part 1. I'll show you volume 2 in just a second. But once again, these are kind of really obscure hard rock psych bands. None of them that I've heard of. Maybe if you're from Sweden, you might be familiar with some of these guys, but I've never heard of any of them. And they're all from the 70s. That's the back cover. And this is volume 2. Same deal. Here's the back cover. And they both come with these little LP size booklets with pictures and write-ups about each of the bands. So that was it from Chaputa Records in Spain, and also before Christmas, Riding Easy Records from the U.S. had a sale, and they were having 25% off. So I figured I'd pick up the rest of the Brown Acid series that I didn't have. So this is the latest one. This one just came out, volume 15. volume 14, and volume 13. And these are compilations with hard rock bands. And once again, these are, again, fairly obscure stuff. A lot of bands you'd never, well, I've never heard of. You probably wouldn't have heard of most of them either. So these are probably gathered from like singles the bands put out regionally or albums that they might have released regionally. I don't think there's anything really on these that went national. A really great set though, if you're into that kind of thing, hard rock. And again, these are all from like the 70s. And they all have great covers on them too, except I was kind of disappointed with the latest one. That's not much of a cover. And it's really dark. You can't really see what's on there. But anyways, now I have the complete set of the Brown Acid compilations up to number 15. And I'm sure there'll be another one coming out probably sometime later this year. And I also picked up this one from Riding Easy. This is a band called White Lightning, and they're a hard rock band, short-lived hard rock band from the 70s. They only released one LP officially, but under the title Lightning. It wasn't until later that they added the white, and I think 7 of the tracks on this album are actually taken from that first album. And it was recorded in 1970 and came out in 1970 on the Pickwick International label. And there's 4 other tracks on this that weren't on that album. And there was, I think sometime in the mid-90s, there was a sort of an unofficial album release that was material that, as far as I could tell, had recorded for a second album that never came out. So those other 4 tracks on this album, which is called Thunderbolts of Fuzz, could have been from that album. Anyways, a great album. It's really great guitar work on this album. And if you're into that kind of hard rock, heavy psych kind of thing from the 70s, this one's highly recommended. And I first heard about this from a couple of other channels on YouTube. I think I first heard about it from a guy called Cosmic Brian, who has a channel called Cosmic Vinyl. And I really like his channel. He does a lot of stuff that I'm into, the 70s hard rock stuff, and he's done some psych videos and bubblegum rock, which I really like too, and all kinds of stuff. He's one of my favorites on YouTube, and I'll try and put a link for his channel down below. And another fellow that I saw this album on was called Wild Heaven. I think it's Wild Heaven something. Wild Heaven something. I'll try and put a link for his channel on here too. And he's an older fellow, so sort of like me, an older fellow that doesn't. He just gets on and talks about records, no extra bells and whistles. Like Cosmic Brian, he's a very well produced channel with lots of visual effects and all that. But the other fellow, he just does like me, comes on, talks about records, and also like me, his lighting isn't too good either, so I don't feel too bad. Anyways, I'll try and put a link down below for him. And I guess when I'm talking about other vinyl community channels, I guess I should give a shout out to the guy that I actually first found out about vinyl community videos on YouTube, and a fellow I do know, I'm acquainted with, called David from Edmonton. His channel is called Nazz Nomad, and I'll try and put a link down below for his too. But that's the first time I ever saw any of these videos. The reason I found out about it is because I'm friends with him on Facebook, so I got a notification of one of his videos, and I checked it out. I was really liked it. I'm really jealous of him. He's I can't believe the amazing finds he finds at thrift stores in Edmonton. Some great stuff. And after I saw a couple of his videos, I decided, well, hey, I'd like to try that. And it took me a while to really get into giving it a try, and I finally decided to do it. So I've done, if you go subscribe, which I hope you do, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you get notified if I do any videos. Anyways, that's how I got started after watching Nazz Nomad, and he was a fellow vendor at the. I used to see him all the time, and I bought stuff from him at the Edmonton Music Collector Show. Anyways, that's it for, well, no, it isn't actually. I have one more that I wanted to show. Brand new one from Sodom. This I got as a Christmas gift from my grandsons. It's a it's called 40 Years at War. And it's sort of a, I guess you'd call it a best of or greatest hits maybe, but it's a double live album. Comes in a neat, just get it out, I don't know how well you can see it, white, black splatter vinyl. And what they did for this album, there's actually two of the original members still in the band. Tom Angel Ripper and Frank Blackfire. What they did is Tom Angel Ripper, who's the leader of Sodom, put this together, and he decided not to pick the obvious tracks, but some of the rarer tracks and tracks that they either don't play live or they seldom play live. And that's what this is. I think there's one track from each of the albums they've released over their 40-year career. One of Germany's top thrash metal bands. They've been together forever, 40 years, going on over 40 years now. And here's the inside cover picture of the band. And what they did, these aren't the original tracks. What they did is in mid 2021 and early 2022, they went into the studio and re-recorded all these tracks, but they kept them the way they were originally recorded. They didn't make any changes or anything. They just figured, well, we're way better musicians than we were when we started 40 years ago, so let's redo these. And it's a nice double album pack. Here's the back cover. Well, that's it for my final vinyl finds of 2022. And hopefully I'll find lots more great stuff in 2023. I'm actually don't have any plans to in the near future, except in mid-February, I believe it's 18th, I will be going back to Saskatoon for the Lions Super Duper Flea Market. I'll be set up there, so I'll probably hopefully get a chance to hit some of the record stores in Saskatoon while I'm there. But I have no immediate plans of going to Edmonton. Probably won't do that till the spring, because I really hate driving in the wintertime. you never know what the highways are going to be like, if it's going to be nice and clear, and or you're going to be sliding around in the ice and end up in the ditch or whatever. So I try to avoid driving on the highway in the wintertime. So we'll have to see what happens in the new year. Anyways, thanks for watching. Once again, if you can, hit the subscribe button and the notification button. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Till next time, stay safe, stay healthy.